How you doing, folks? Well, the MGTF is back in the garage with me now, and this time we're going to be replacing the roof on it. So this is a big job, and it's going to make a huge difference to how this car looks. So stay with me and I'll show you how we do it. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to take the carpeting around the back window on the parcel shelf out and unclip. Well, we don't have to take it out, we just have to unclip the 7 clips around it. And I have an assistant with me as well, who's the actual owner of the car. So yeah, we're going to be doing that now, and yeah, so we can actually do it from inside from through the window, which makes life a little bit easier. This would be actually how you get at the engine in this car if you were doing any major work on it. So the owner, Alan here, is going to be reading the manual and stuff like that as we go, and making sure that we don't deviate from the plan too much. Quality inspector, so to speak. You can do this from inside the car. You can release the clips in there, but given the fact that the window is unzipped, we'll do it this way. There we go. Now I want to make sure that this glass screen doesn't get damaged as well. Alright, so now this exposes our rivets that are along here, and that's where they'll be the ones we'll have to drill out. There's a set of rivets all the way along there, and that lets you take out a strip of metal that retains the hood. Okay, we're going to start by taking off these rivets along here, and then basically what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drill the heads off them. We were looking at the manual there, or an online instruction manual on how to do this, and to be honest with you, the person who was doing it, he's a bit on the heavy-handed side of things, so I wasn't all that happy with following those instructions. Talking about cutting the old hood off and all that. To me, I'd rather do this right than quickly, you know, so I'd rather actually figure out a way of doing this without having to cut anything, if possible. So anyway, let's just drill these rivets out anyway. Like, he was talking about taking the rivets out with a chisel. I mean, what's wrong with drilling them? See, they're coming out fine this way. Alright, that should be all the heads of those rivets drilled off now. Okay, so next thing to do now, after we've drilled off the heads of those rivets, is actually to peel off this metal strip here. Now we are going to be keeping this, so you don't butcher it. Alright, so there we go. So there's that metal strip out of the way. Just put it down there for the moment. Now there's another strip down here as well on this, actually, so I suppose we're going to have to remove that as well, because that's actually holding this part of the roof onto the frame. So we'll do that then as well. Alright, okay, so that should allow that strip now to come off. I've been hoovering up the swarf along the way. I suggest you do the same thing when you're doing this, because swarf can scratch paintwork, and we don't want to do that. Now you can see that the hood is starting to come away from this back frame here, and if you're actually changing the rear window, that's what you need to do. Now you don't need to take these strips off down the side, but what you would do is you take off the strip down the bottom here, and then take the bottom part out, and then you need to take the joiner off the zip along here as well, and take the zip off all the way. That then allows you to unzip your rear screen, and you can then put your new one in. Now I would suggest you buy the one with the fabric around it rather than just buying the actual material, unless you're handy with a sewing machine. Okay, so now you can see that this part of the roof is all peeled forward. Okay, so what we're really doing here is we're just going to continue moving forward in the car. Now, the next rib along here is this one, and so far as I can tell, it's actually bonded onto the frame along here. So what we're going to have to do is just see how we can actually release that down the bottom here first, because that'll allow us to actually pull it up. Okay, so what we've been doing now is actually peeling these bits off the bars in the inside of the car now. So that will allow the hood to actually come away from them then afterwards. We still have a bit more to do as well, but it's kind of tedious work, and you can kind of understand why somebody might be tempted to actually cut it off. But to be honest with you, if you're willing to put in the time, you can do it this way, and then you're not going cutting anything. And
refurbish the roof.
well, yeah, exactly. You'd be able to actually, you could actually get the roof refurbished, yeah. But for the moment, anyway, that's the state of play. And then what we need to do is we need to get these off here as well. Now they're actually kind of hooked onto. There's a metal disc on this side here, or on both sides actually, which the roof is hooked onto. Okay, so I've taken off the two catches at the front there. They're just held on by 5mm Allen bolts. I'm sure you can figure that bit out for yourself there. And down here then as well is a rubber strip, which we can pull out. And we'll do the same on the other side. So now, there is the A-pillar channel going down here as well, which also has a set of rivets that need to be drilled out. We're going to put our rubber aside and we'll take that off. Okay, so I've taken the rubber strip out of here, and now I'm actually looking to see. I don't actually think we need to take the metal strip off, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just peel this back here a little bit. Okay, I'm just using a long nose pliers just to peel it back a bit. Okay, and what that will do is it'll allow us to get in at there's a couple of claws bent back in underneath here, which I'll show you now. Okay, so I'm going to just bend these back, these little tabs. That allows us to pull that away. So the little metal disc inside there actually, which we probably will want to keep. But now what we should be able to do is peel the roof up along here off this channel. And it's stuck with adhesive. So there we go. There we go. Now there's the first signs of our tensioner cable, which is here. So we're going to have to release that. That's held in with a little. I see what way it is. Actually, it's on a barrel nut. So we'll come to that now in a second. The next thing to do is we're going to do the same on the other side, and we will. Then we'll start looking at the front. Okay, so now we can take out we can loosen off the bolts here. There's a 7mm bolts that are one on either side that are actually holding the cable in. So let's come and loose nicely there now. So we only need to loosen it so far as I can tell. I don't think we need to actually undo it all the way. Okay, so I've loosened the bolt sufficiently there now to pull the cable through, and there's a little copper ferrule on the end of the cable, so that's loose, and we're going to do the same on the other side again, and that allows for the cable to go slack. Now we will need to find out what's attaching it at the other end. I haven't actually gotten that far yet, but we'll get there now in a minute. Alright, so moving to the front of the roof, there's this little rubber piece here which is onto a plastic headed sort of button, and the rubber piece will actually just unhook from that, and then the fabric will as well. And when you peel that back, you can see this little metal tang, okay, just down in there, and that metal tang will need to be bent back as well, and I've also done that. So I'll just bend it back a little bit more, just using a long nose pliers, just straighten that out. So now that should allow us to take off this part of the fabric of the roof. Bearing in mind the new roof will be easier to fit because you won't have to deal with all of the adhesives and stuff like that that are holding it in place. And now we can see another tang underneath, which is where that tensioner cable is actually attached onto. Alright, so that's the tensioner cable undone. You can see it's got a loop on the end that just goes around that cable. It goes through a slot first, so there's actually a slot in the side of the metal. The slot in the side of the metal, it goes through there, and then the tang actually just holds it down, and then the slot would stop it from actually coming free in the first instance. So that's that done. So now we need to actually start addressing this piece along here, and to do that, so far as I can tell, I think we're going to need to actually remove the yeah, there we go. We're going to have to remove this piece of trim along here. And there's both trim clips, and there we go. Yeah, it's not too bad. So, and then we get our trim clips off. So you might just want to use the long nose pliers or something like that to take them off. Okay, so the fabric is, or the rivets are actually underneath some foam here. Now what you can do is, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to just peel back the foam a little bit, and just to reveal the rivet in each location, and just drill the head of the rivet off, and then we should be able to take the whole strip off, and then that should allow the roof to come off. And I think that's actually everything then. Now we still need to remove this tensioner cable on this side as well, actually, so we may do that as well. I'll do that first. Okay, so the tensioner cables are released. The fabric has just been peeled away from the tangs that are sticking out there. So now what we're going to do is, as I said, we're going to start drilling out these rivets, and then when they're out, then we should be able to remove the whole roof. Sometimes the rivet starts spinning in the hole, which is a pain in the face when it happens. Alright, so now it should be just a case of peeling back this piece here.
We need that metal piece
yet. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm just right there, just put it underneath it there. And now the roof should just peel away. Should. It's never that straightforward, but there you go. It's coming away now. Okay, now, moment of truth.
No, just the tension cable.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to pass that through the how can it pull through? Because
the loop.
Well, it won't go through with the loop. I see. No, you won't do that. It won't go through the hole, because if you look at the ferrule that it was actually holding in the first place, I think what we'll need to do is just try and the ferrule actually has a little collar on it, and if I can undo the collar on it. Yeah. Okay, so what we're doing here is, rather than losing the ferrule, we're going to just squeeze it, if I can, and that should allow us to pass it through the hole. There we go. Okay, so that worked. So that's one of them out. So now we can do the same on the other side, and then that'll release the roof. Okay, so the cables are free. So now, what's going on here? Hold on. What's this now? But wait, there's more. What way do they work? It looks like it's just kind of folded back on itself, but there's a screw there and there, and there's the same over there. Yeah, but if you just pull it out, like, that's only part of the roof then that comes out, and the other bit is actually, there's a screw there and there's a plate and it's doubled over on that. So we need to take those two screws out, and then this piece has to come out. This is turning into a right big bloody job, you know that? Okay, so because we're fitting the Sportster hood, unfortunately we've come to the point where we actually have to cut this. Now the Sportster hood doesn't actually get fixed onto this bar, so it shouldn't be a major problem, but I was kind of hoping to avoid having to cut the roof at any point. I suppose there are ways of taking it off, but to be honest with you, for the purposes of this exercise, cutting it is the best solution. So, you see, this is where the zip for the rear window attaches to and everything as well. So, yeah, there's several layers of fabric to get through there on that. Now, I'm going to try and neaten that up now in a minute. Just go around the other side. If you're going to do jobs like this, make sure you have a sharp Stanley blade. Okay. And there we go. So now, all that's left is the fabric that the zip piece actually attaches to. Now, if you were replacing only the rear window, what you would do is you'd actually use this part of the old zip. So you're only going to replace half the zipper. So that's how I did it in the past anyway. long before I was making YouTube videos. Okay, and there's the rear window out. It's fair to say that needed replacing anyway. Okay, so in order to fit the new roof, in actual fact, we're going to need to take this strip off anyway. And to be honest with you, we probably could have taken that off to take the roof off without having to cut it. But you know what, it's a learning experience for us. I've never done this job before. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get I'm going to bet it's the 7mm socket as well. And I'm going to just try it and see. And hopefully then, yeah, 7mm. Okay, so we can take the series of nuts off here, and that will allow us to take this top piece off the what they call the rear bow. Now, okay, so we'll work away on that, get that off, and then we'll come back to you. Okay, so now that we have all the nuts removed, we were able to lift that top bar off, and of course there's more rivets, so commence drilling again. Yep, so that frees up the rear bow, so to speak, and now what we're going to need to do is just straps to go down either side of the roof to go down to the rear hood support. Now, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tidy up all the holes and take all the rivet, the remains of the rivets out. So that's going to take a bit of time, so I'll come back to you when it's done. Okay, so it's definitely worth checking measurements, because half the time you get a measurement saying the holes you're supposed to drill are 3.5mm and the other half are 3.2mm. Now, I measured the rivets that we were actually supplied in the kit and they are 3.2mm. Now, the other thing as well is these plates here, okay? Now, the thing is that it says that the holes are 20mm spaced apart. They are not. They are 17mm, okay? Now, 3mm is going to make all the difference when it comes to actually getting the rivets through. So, like, I don't understand why you can't just get that sort of stuff right. But anyway, look, that's neither here nor there. The next thing we need to do is we need to install a strap that goes from here down to the rearmost frame of the hood. So what I'm going to do is, there's a hole already here which isn't actually illustrated in the drawings. And it's for one of the bolts that went through. So we're gonna just move away from that and use our 3mm to get a little bit further away from that hole. And I'm going to drill 3.2mm holes into the top skin of this bow, and we're going to do it on the same on the other side, and then we're going to get the plate riveted on. Ah, you bastard! I broke the drill bit. And I bet you that was my last 3.2 as well. Okay, so we have our doubler plate here and we have our pop rivet already loaded into the rivet gun. And this is going to be our first one now. We'll put the two rivets into the holes first of all, just to keep it centered up. But it doesn't stick through. There's one. There's that on. It is going to be tight going down there, but I think the roof, it has to be tight though. So it'll be fine, it'll work. So that goes like that then. So we'll have to drill out those holes still. I haven't done them yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we've had to do is we rang the supplier because there's a question mark we have here about how these straps are supposed to actually go on to the hood. Now, to me, it just seems that these are actually far too tight when you actually put this down. But that's the way they say to do it, so that's the way we're going to do it. And we will, we'll just install it and see. And what we'll do is we'll fasten the hood up, fasten the frame up before we put the material on. And if it's all sitting right at that stage, then grand. So yeah. Anyway, I noticed that there is already one hole here, so I'm thinking that we only actually need to drill another one hole, and that'll see us right. Okay, so we have the holes drilled, and we're going to put our straps on here and see how we go. Okay, so that's that strap installed. I think it'll work.
Okay. Well, they seem
It does, look.
yeah.
That's fine. Okay, so there we go. So now we'll do the other side. Now, the moment of truth. So, well, at this point. So let's see how we... So here, look, just hold on to it there for a second now, right? You press it down. Look. It'll be fine.
So that's nowhere even near dropping into the
Clamp it there. Look, just do up a couple of the clips.
Oh, does it not drop down fully?
No.
Oh, I thought it dropped down fully. Okay, yeah. If it sits up on that lip, then yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, see there, like that. Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I thought it went flush with it.
No, you see, it has to allow for the fabric to get out.
Yeah, no, that's fine then.
Yeah, and then if you push that down there now, look.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Right. So what we need to do now is we need to lay the roof over the frame, okay, and position the center hole of the roof with the center hole of the. Yeah. It's going to look the business. So so there's the center hole there, right? So now we need to get a rivet in there, and that's going to be with our. Let's see. Yeah, so and then the center hole is the one with the round hole instead. Now I'm going to just give that a wipe down and just make sure it's clean before we put it on. Okay, so now what we can do is we can put our rivet here in the center, okay, and then this is the center of the window, or the center of the hood even, or car, whatever way you want to look at it. And we can pick this up, and then this just goes through this hole here, and that's our starting point. Now, I'm inclined to think that what we should do is drive that rivet, and then we'll get the rest of them positioned, and at least that'll keep us square. Well, actually, maybe we might not need to. Let's just see now. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way of going. Yeah, so if we lift it up, we start at the middle and work our way out. Right, so earlier on in the video I did say that we weren't going to have to remove this strip here that the seal actually goes in, but we do have to remove it, and the simple reason for that is this piece here. It's a kind of a plastic edge that goes in it, and it actually makes for a much nicer job than the original roof would have been. So what we'll do is we'll take this off, that goes in, then we've new rivets to go back down there again, stick it back on top of that, and then that's that one done. But first what we'll be doing is we will be getting the piece in along there. Now the other thing as well is I don't think we're going to need that little disc. You remember the one that goes there? I'm not fully convinced. There's not even a provision for that.
Well, because this one actually rivets on here, so there's no need to pull it down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can't go out of position. So anyway, let's drill this off. Okay, so we made a little bit of a boo-boo here, and that is there's a strip that goes along here, and part of it overlaps the strip we've already put on the back, okay? Now, what I've done is, rather than trying to take the strip off the back again, I actually just cut off the piece that goes underneath the other strip. Don't tell anybody, but it'll be all right. The owner's here with me, folks, and he said it was all right to go and do, so it's fine. He'd have done the same thing himself. So anyway, right, so let's have a look and see. We need to get more bleeding rivets in. This is the one for here. There isn't even a hole in this for the
Sorry?
This is supposed to go here, right? Like this. Oh, well, hang on. Okay, so we're just waiting for the paint to dry. I actually stuck on those other pieces, so we're just feeding in the tensioning cables here now, which go down along here, and they will loop on the front then when the time comes. But for the moment, anyway, we'll leave them be just once they're in position, and then we can get these other strips on, and then that's the back of it finished, and we can kind of start working our way towards the front. The end is in sight, folks. I'll tell you one thing, this has taken an awful lot longer than I actually expected it to take. Okay, so we're actually able to attach these cables on this end now. So you just poke them through the hole again, basically, and do up the bolt. There we go. Now that's that one done. So we'll nip up the one on the other side now as well. Alright, so the paint is dry on these now, so they look a lot better, and we'll pop that in there now. We will have to make a new hole actually, because there's a hole missing in the hood, but we'll make one, so it's not the end of the world. Alright, so we have the strips installed around the back. Now, we actually had to in one on either side for the rearmost fastener on the side piece here. So what I did was I actually just I poked it out with a pick, and then just drilled through, and that sorted that out. But it actually meant then we were short 2 of the long rivets. But that's the piece that came with the car, so that's what we've installed. Now the next thing to do anyway is to install this, and this literally just hooks over this here like that, and then we can install our side piece up along there, and then that brings us further forward on the car yet again. So more rivets, and we get that done. And this is the side piece here. Literally just goes there. We get the rivets in, get the seal in, and the seal just slides onto that channel, and then that's that done. And then we can start getting the roof attached at the front, and then we'll do the braces in the middle. Okay, so what we need to do now before we do anything else is we've to attach our hood cables at the front here. They go through, there's a little slot on the side, and then they go onto a little kind of spike, and then the hood just pulls over the corners here. Now we're not going to be fixing it right the way along the front yet. What we need to do is get this done first, and then we get this on. So we were kind of jumping the gun a little bit. I wouldn't put them on yet. I would have waited until we got the front done. It's let's just lift it up here for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so now if you look here, right, there's a hole in the fabric, and that goes over that spike there, okay?
This bit, yeah?
Yeah, and then the other spike is for the cable to go onto. Okay, so what we have to do is loop that cable over that.
Did you move that spike initially?
Yeah, well I unbent it, yeah. Yeah, so I'll just get a pliers and just bend that down. Here we are. Right, so that's the tensioner cable on that side in. So we can get the same on the other side, and then we'll get the hood over. So now what we can do is we pull the fabric over the roof, and there's a spike here which will go in through the hole in the fabric. And what we have to do is bend that one down. I'm just going to literally push it with the pliers. So that bends down there, and we do the same on the other side. Should be easier said than done now. One minute is just because. Yeah, I need to pull it up like that. There you go. Right, and I'm going to tell you now, it took a serious amount of force to try and hook the roof over this end of the frame, and unfortunately we had a little bit of a mishap there, but nothing that I don't think can be fixed with a little bit of adhesive in the right place. So I think we'll just get away with that. But yeah, anyway, right, it's let's just keep our fingers crossed on that one. Anyway, let's get these channels in next, and then we can start putting the rubber in on them, and we will go from there. I've been at this all bleeding day at this stage, and I'm getting a bit fed up of it, to tell you the truth. It's an arduous job. It really is, not for the faint of heart. But we are getting there, and it is going to look good when it's finished. So our seals are in along here. That's all done. It's clamped down the back at the moment, and we have it hooked in the corners here as well, and we've got a rubber piece in there. So that's all done. Okay, now it was finicky as hell, but what I've done here as well is I've sprayed some adhesive in along there, so I'm just letting that go tacky, and we're just going to wait a little while, and then we can start kind of trying to pull it into position. And then the final thing really then is to get our strip along there, and then the cover for this. And once we have that done, then we can call it a win. But yeah, not a straightforward job. I mean, there's a lot of little fiddly bits and pieces on it. Just as a kind of a disclaimer, so to speak, I've tried to cover absolutely every detail on doing this job, but there's probably a couple of small bits and pieces that you might want to do differently, or that I'm not even going to be all that happy with how it actually how I did it, even though the outcome might be right. But what I have found is the company who supply the roof and manufacture it, Bass International, have been incredibly helpful, and I picked up the phone to them twice there actually now, and they are they've been very good. So yeah, it's thanks for that. Okay. Yeah. Well, what we can do is before we put the clamping plate on, we'll just try and close it again, because we can still reposition this for a little while. But that's bonded there now, right? So let's see. It's going to be very tight, but I just have to assume it'll stretch eventually, you know.
It does stretch, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go then. Okay, so we've done up the adhesive along here now anyway, and just it's in position. So the last thing to do really now is to just get our clamping plate on, and once we have that in position, then we'll close it all up and let it find its final position and that. But yeah, it's definitely looking 100 times better, without a shadow of a doubt. Now the car just needs a good coat of wax, and I will not be doing that. Okay, so the adhesive is done. So now we can, this is going to go like this, okay? So what we have to do is just fold it up over it, and get a few rivets in position. And how are you fixed your side there?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you need to go over your way a bit? Actually, you can see where the holes are here. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so alright, so let's get a couple of rivets just into the holes. Okay, so we're at the point now of putting on the finishing strip that goes on the front piece here, which is great. So I have a can of Carlsberg in the fridge inside there with my name on it, and I'm very much looking forward to it after this job, I'll be honest. So it's just finicky, but it's going on. And then so we'll work our way along there, get that finishing strip on, put our catches back on, and we'll get the roof closed, and we'll have a look at it and see how it looks then. Okay, the moment of truth, folks. Let's put the roof up.
It's going to need a stretch, but
yeah.
There's Velcro tabs.
Right. So let's fold it down anyway.
Yeah. So
What's
best way to stretch it is out from inside the car. So hang on a second. It won't reach first.
all right? Whatever way you look at it, it definitely looks the job though. Really transforms the car. Yeah. Don't forget there's 2 clips on the parcel shelf still need closing as well.
Where?
On the parcel shelf, the 2 either side need closing as well.
So this side is closed. Why don't you just do that side?
Alright. Okay, so now the only thing that needs to happen is the fabric needs to stretch into position. We've done up the 2 Velcro strips that are in the inside of the car up there, and they just hold the bars, hold the roof onto the bars in the middle. Now they have a self-adhesive strip in the middle as well, so you can put the self-adhesive strip on and then do it up with the Velcro. But I think that looks absolutely fantastic. Now the car needs a bit of a wash, but you know, I mean, that's a given. But the roof really transforms this car. Well folks, it's a couple of weeks later and I'm finally getting to edit this video, and I realised I never shot a final scene for it in my haste, and since then things have kind of descended into chaos here, and you might notice that the shed that was behind me here, the big metal shed, is now gone. The reason for that is actually because of the fact that it was blocking our view of the mountains in the background, and plus I'm the type of man who, if I have the space, I will fill it with crap. So my garage is still there, and we're in the process of just getting the wiring reinstated in it and stuff like that, because it came through that shed. So it's a bit of a pain in that regard, but we're just kind of wrapping all of that up. But yeah, so that's probably why you haven't heard much from me in the last couple of weeks or whatever. But yeah, just I wanted to put a finish on this video anyway. I'm really happy with how that MG turned out, and throw in a few stills here that were sent by the owner. He's absolutely thrilled with it as well. And yeah, it was a hard slog. If anybody ever asks me again to do a soft top replacement on an MG TF or MGF, I'd be like, no, I am not doing that again, because it was a great big pain in the face. But that being said, it's not one that you can't do yourself. I mean, if once you have the space and the time and the inclination to do it, you definitely can do it yourself. Once is enough for me, thank you very much. So yeah, and it gives me pause about doing the headliner in my Beetle as well. I'm kind of in 2 minds as to whether or not I should do that, but I probably will, but you know what I mean, you know yourself, like. But anyway, listen, thanks a lot for watching, folks. I hope you got a bit from this video, and those of you thinking about taking it on, do take it on. Let me know how you get on, and comment below, and report back with your own progress, and I hope it goes well for you. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.